Dave, we're rolling. We're rolling, Dave. Don't mess it up.
We got these gee-whiz microphones.
This is usually one take. This is our second take.
Which didn't work the first time because we had technical difficulties or something with. I can't work this way. I can't work this way.
We're not going to mention any names.
Can't work
We're not going to mention any names.
Is this the last time we're going to do this?
Somebody's going to owe somebody something.
I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. Anyway,
keep the talent happy, Dave. Keep the talent happy.
Penn State 33, Central Michigan 14. Central Michigan came in here. They are a well-coached, well-schooled team with a couple of good athletes, but they're a Mid-American Conference team. And I would not say this was Penn State's most satisfying effort by a long shot, and James Franklin didn't think so either. I think he was sending a message there to the players.
Those nefarious Chippewas would not go quietly, Dave. It came down to that. And it didn't help that Penn State started pretty well. But Nick Singleton just didn't get it going like he did the last 2 weeks. They didn't run the ball until the other true freshman, Kaytron Allen, who was pretty sensational, did some really nice things. But there was a stretch there in the second quarter where Sean Clifford, I thought missed some throws, and even some of the catches the receivers made, they weren't easy catches. He got out of sync after starting 8 for 8, and it really took Barney and Moore, the punter, to really position them for the touchdown that would put them ahead to stay. But you know, when you do what you did to Auburn, even though Auburn's down, they were not going to be able to replicate that intensity. No way.
And they sold out pretty much. Yeah. And played really, really well against Auburn. And Sean Clifford played really well against Auburn after that hellacious hit. I'm sure it's maddening for Penn State fans because on the one hand, you really admire his resiliency. Yeah. The kid is both emotionally and physically resilient. He threw that, what looked like a devastating pick at Purdue, and then he ends up
it's his only turnover. Penn State's only turnover the whole year.
Well, yeah, only because he got lucky because of that devastating hit at Auburn that
Owen Papo
came back from.
It sounds like Grey Poupon. Owen Papo.
You're missing the point.
I know.
The point is that this kid keeps coming back from apparent miscues, may we say, both physical and otherwise. And so you want to root for him, but then there's a day like today where he's not only what you were talking about, but missing some open guys sometimes.
Yeah, it was. You know, it wasn't his best 60 minutes, but he has what Penn State's needed him when they needed him at Purdue. Even after he threw the pick six, he played well. He played a very solid game against an athletic Auburn defense. Took that hellacious shot. Hey, I would look at it this way, Dave. If you're going to have a day where you don't bring your A game, it's good that it was today. But they've got some tests coming up. Maybe not next week, but he's going to have to be he's going to have to be more consistent.
When you're going to need, and when you're inconsistent at quarterback, you need to consistently run the ball, which James Franklin said, obviously we need to run the ball with more consistency. But when you need that, a guy like Kaytron Allen is sometimes much better than a home run hitter like Nick Singleton. Yeah. Because he's patient with the way he hits holes, and then he hits them with authority. And he always moves the pile forward at the end of his runs. Yeah. He can keep the sticks moving, and he did it today and really gave him a lift with 111 yards, I think.
Yeah. During our first take, which went awry, you mentioned Tony Hunt. And I wanted to bring that up, just because I thought a pretty fair comparison. Similarly built, Tony was a little bit bigger. Kaytron Allen at one point was 220. He's down to 200. His weight's going to go back up a little bit. But boy, he is quick. He has got great vision, and he doesn't. I don't think he's got one carry for a loss this year. So
I did not know that until you said it, and I checked, and it's true. Yeah, 36 carries, not one for negative yardage.
And that bodes well for short yardage when they go under center. And I think from now on, when Penn State gets inside the 10, as explosive as Nick Singleton is, I think the money guy should be Kaytron, because you saw what he did at Auburn. He can if there's not a hole, he can find a hole, and if there's not a hole on the other side, he can just run through guys. So I think he's he's the guy when they need 6 and they're inside the 10.
Anyway, Central Michigan controlled the ball a lot because they've got a very interesting little quarterback in Daniel Richardson.
Yep.
And he had a lot of yardage actually.
He threw the ball in the right spots, and they made some nice
they
made some nice catches for him. And I think Central Michigan played hard. They came to play, and when they got down early, they didn't get discouraged.
They're a good, solid MAC team, but they are a MAC team. And the interesting thing was that James Franklin is not going to abide, and I knew I wasn't going to get a straight answer on this question, but I had to ask it anyway.
It took like 4 minutes for you to ask that question, but it was worth it. It was worth it.
Well, it was worth it, and it's this, because a lot of coaches are succumbing to the pressure to play these prodigious 5-star freshmen when they're around. Well, I've mentioned Michigan doing
Shark
it.
face.
I've Michigan doing it with they pulled Cade McNamara and put J.J. McCarthy, and now he's the starter because Cade's hurt.
Yeah.
And he led a win against Maryland today. James is not going to abide this, and he won't answer it directly, but he's not going to put Allar in for significant minutes in a game still in doubt. He only did it when he had to, when Clifford had the cramps in his legs at Purdue.
Yeah, and I know, as much as you want to see Drew, I mean, they're going to have to get a little bit of a lead, or Sean's going to have to be hurt for him to be in the game, and maybe that is fair. I think there are some things. Sean missed some passes today, but he does do a lot of little things for Penn State. James referenced it against Auburn, getting the right pass protection set, make sure everyone's on the same page, and those are the kind of things that I think Drew is still trying to pick up. So it probably would be a tough ask for him to play 60 minutes against a really good defense.
Anyway, Northwestern next week, we could be seeing a hurricane, Bob. That's what I've been hearing.
It's officially out there, people. He has officially said that, so that means it's going to be 75 and sunny. You got no worries. One of us is going to be horribly wrong. History says it's going to be him.
I know about weather, people. I know about meteorologists.
Meow.
You want to talk about the weather?
Meow.
I like talking about the weather.
I can't. I'm meowing right now.
Until then, at Beaver Stadium, adios.